These real monsters once ruled Earth. A crocodile large enough to hunt dinosaurs, a bird that hunted humans, a giant rodent the size of a car. Science confirmed all of them. The fossil record is the most honest document in the history of life on Earth. It doesn't exaggerate, it doesn't invent, it simply preserves, in rock, in amber, in ancient mud, the evidence of what actually existed. And what actually existed, across the history of this planet, is considerably more alarming than anything we've invented since. Tonight, 6 more prehistoric animals that science has confirmed, measured, and named. 6 more monsters that were real. And 6 more reasons to be quietly grateful that we live in the specific 200,000 years of Earth's history that we do. Animal number 1. Sarcosuchus, 12 meters long, 8 tons. A crocodile that lived 112 million years ago and was large enough to prey on dinosaurs. The modern Nile crocodile is one of the most dangerous animals on Earth. It reaches lengths of up to 6 meters, weighs up to a ton, and has a bite force of approximately 5,000 pounds per square inch. It has been killing large mammals, including humans, along African rivers for as long as those rivers have existed. Now double it. Sarcosuchus imperator, the flesh crocodile emperor, reached lengths of up to 12 meters and weighed an estimated 8 tons. Its skull alone measured 1.8 meters in length. It lived in what is now the Sahara Desert, approximately 112 million years ago, when that desert was a vast river delta teeming with life, and it was large enough to do something no modern crocodile can: prey on dinosaurs. The fossil site where Sarcosuchus was first formally described, found in the Tenere Desert of Niger by paleontologist Paul Sereno in 1997 and 2000, produced remains alongside those of multiple dinosaur species that showed bite marks consistent with Sarcosuchus' jaw dimensions. The crocodile wasn't scavenging these animals. The placement and depth of the bite marks, on limb bones, on spinal vertebrae, suggested active predation. An animal large enough and powerful enough to attack and kill dinosaurs at the water's edge with the same ambush strategy modern crocodiles use on wildebeest. The strategy hasn't changed in 112 million years. Only the scale has. What makes Sarcosuchus particularly fascinating is the bulla, a distinctive rounded growth at the tip of its upper jaw, present in adults of the species but not in juveniles. No modern crocodilian has this feature, and its function remains debated. Some researchers believe it enhanced the animal's sense of smell, others that it was used in vocalizations, others that it played a role in display and species recognition. It is a feature with no modern analog on an animal of no modern size, adapted to hunt prey that no longer exists, in a landscape that is now one of the world's most inhospitable deserts. Every detail of Sarcosuchus's existence belongs to a world so different from ours that it requires deliberate effort to remember it was the same planet. Animal number 2, Paraceratherium, 3 meters tall, running at 50 kilometers per hour. A bird with a beak that could crush bone that was the apex predator of South America for 60 million years. For most of the history of life on Earth, the dominant land predators have been reptiles or mammals. But there is a period, stretching approximately 60 million years, from the extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs to the arrival of large mammalian predators in South America, when the apex land predators of an entire continent were birds, the Paraceratheridae, the terror birds. A family of flightless predatory birds that reached heights of up to 3 meters, ran at estimated speeds of 50 kilometers per hour, and possessed a skull and beak so massive and powerful that researchers initially struggled to determine how they actually killed their prey. The beak was the weapon. Up to 70 centimeters long, hooked at the tip like an enormous eagle's beak, it was not designed for holding or gripping. Its structure was optimized for striking downward with enormous force, using the entire weight of the bird's head and neck as a battering ram. High-speed camera analysis of related modern birds, combined with finite element modeling of Paraceratherium skull fossils, suggests that the terror bird's primary killing method was to grab prey with the beak and then shake violently, or to hold the prey down and deliver repeated downward strikes that could crack the skull of an animal the size of a deer. The feet, while large, lacked the curved talons of raptors and were used primarily for running, not killing. The beak was everything. Sarcosuchus dominated South American ecosystems from approximately 62 million years ago until around 2 million years ago, when the formation of the Isthmus of Panama allowed large North American predators, saber-toothed cats, ancestral jaguars, to move south for the first time. The terror birds didn't immediately disappear. Some species survived into the period of human habitation of South America, meaning that early human settlers of the continent may have encountered them. The last terror bird species went extinct approximately 1.8 million years ago. Indigenous legends of enormous predatory birds across South America have sometimes been connected to this timeline. The thunderbird, the roc, the giant bird that hunts from above. These legends may not be purely imaginary. They may be the last echo of a world where a 3-meter bird could outrun a horse and kill it with its face. Animal Farca 3, Haast's eagle. The largest eagle that ever lived. Talons the size of a tiger's claws. It hunted animals 15 times its own weight, and it hunted humans. New Zealand was, until approximately 700 years ago, one of the most isolated large land masses on Earth. For tens of millions of years, it had no land mammals at all. No predators, no large grazers, nothing that walked on 4 legs. In their absence, birds evolved to fill every ecological niche that mammals occupy elsewhere. The moa, a family of enormous flightless birds, the largest reaching 250 kilograms and nearly 4 meters in height, became the dominant herbivore. And Haast's eagle, Hieratus murray, evolved to hunt them. Haast's eagle was the largest eagle that ever lived. Females reached 15 kilograms with a wingspan of up to 3 meters and talons, the gripping claws, comparable in size and grip strength to a modern tiger's claws. It attacked its prey, moa and other large flightless birds, at speeds estimated between 50 and 80 kilometers per hour, striking with its talons at the pelvis and lower back, gripping with enough force to pierce bone, and using its weight and momentum to bring the animal down. The beak then finished the kill at the back of the skull. Biomechanical analysis of Haast's eagle fossils shows adaptations for exactly this impact-based killing strategy. A skull and beak built to withstand the force of high-speed collision with a 250-kilogram bird. When the Maori arrived in New Zealand approximately 700 years ago, they encountered Haast's eagle. The evidence is not speculative. Haast's eagle remains have been found at Maori archaeological sites, alongside evidence of butchering. Maori oral tradition contains references to a giant bird, the puwa or hokioi, described as a predator capable of killing humans. Physical evidence supports this. At least one set of human remains from the period shows wounds consistent with Haast's eagle talons. The eagle hunted the Maori. The Maori hunted back. The eagle, dependent on moa, which the Maori hunted to extinction within a century of arrival, went extinct around 1400 AD. Making it one of the most recent large predator extinctions on record, and one of the very few confirmed cases of a bird that preyed on humans within the reach of recorded history. Animal number 4, Paraceratherium 5 meters tall, 8 meters long, 20 tons. The largest land mammal that ever lived. And it was a rhinoceros without a horn. Imagine the largest animal you have ever seen on land, an elephant. Now imagine something larger, significantly larger. Paraceratherium transauralicum, sometimes called Indricotherium, was a hornless rhinoceros that stood approximately 5 meters tall at the shoulder, measured around 8 meters from nose to tail, and weighed an estimated 15 to 20 tons. It is the largest land mammal confirmed by the fossil record. Nothing that walks on Earth today comes close. The largest African elephant on record weighed approximately 10 tons, half the mass of Paraceratherium. It would have looked, to any observer standing beside it, less like an animal and more like a geological feature that had decided to move. Paraceratherium lived approximately 34 to 23 million years ago, across a vast range stretching from Eastern Europe through Central Asia to China. It browsed on high vegetation. Its long neck and elevated skull allowed it to reach leaves at heights inaccessible to any other animal in its ecosystem, filling a niche somewhat equivalent to a modern giraffe, but at a scale that made the giraffe look modest. Its legs were long and pillar-like, designed to support its extraordinary mass. Its skull, while large by any modern standard, was proportionally small relative to its body, a feature of very large herbivores, which have less need for a heavily armored or heavily muscled head than predators of equivalent size. Here's what makes Paraceratherium's story particularly striking. It existed during a period of dramatic climate change. The Eocene-Oligocene transition, the cooling event that reshaped global ecosystems approximately 34 million years ago, reduced the dense tropical forests that had covered much of Central Asia and replaced them with more open seasonal woodland. Paraceratherium's extraordinary size may have been an adaptation to this changing landscape, allowing it to reach food sources at heights that smaller animals couldn't access, and to travel large distances between feeding areas in a more open terrain. When the climate shifted again, the vegetation that supported something of its size changed with it. The largest land mammal that ever lived didn't survive a changing world. It simply ran out of enough food to fuel something that enormous. And the next monster on tonight's list was smaller, but considerably more dangerous. Animal number 5. Josephoartigasia. A rodent the size of a bison, teeth so strong they could crack bone, and it was a vegetarian. The largest rodent alive today is the capybara, a semi-aquatic South American mammal that reaches about 65 kilograms and looks, to most observers, improbably large for something in the rodent category. The capybara is a small animal compared to Josephoartigasia monesi. This giant rodent, which lived in what is now Uruguay approximately 4 to 2 million years ago, reached an estimated body mass of up to 1,000 kilograms, roughly the weight of a bison or a small car. It is the largest rodent confirmed by the fossil record, and it was, based on everything the fossil evidence indicates, a vegetarian. A 1,000-kilogram vegetarian rodent sounds almost comedic until you consider the teeth. The incisors of Josephoartigasia, the large front teeth characteristic of all rodents which grow continuously throughout the animal's life, were enormous. Based on skull dimensions and the biomechanical modeling of related species, researchers estimate that Josephoartigasia's bite force reached approximately 1,400 newtons in normal use, and that the incisors were capable of withstanding forces of up to 4,165 newtons, suggesting they were used for tasks beyond simple feeding, cracking hard seeds, stripping bark, possibly defending against predators. A rodent the size of a bison with teeth capable of generating forces comparable to a tiger's bite is a genuinely unsettling combination, regardless of its dietary preferences. Josephoartigasia lived alongside some of the most extraordinary megafauna in South American history: ground sloths, giant armadillos, and early members of the horse family. In a period before the formation of the Isthmus of Panama connected South America to North America and allowed predators from the north to enter the continent. In that isolated southern world, with limited large predators, the evolutionary pressure toward gigantism produced animals of extraordinary scale across multiple lineages. Josephoartigasia was the rodent version of that trend, and the next animal on tonight's list was one of the predators that eventually ended it. Animal number 6. Thylacoleo. The most powerful bite, relative to body size, of any mammal that ever lived. It was a marsupial lion, and it hunted in Australia until 40,000 years ago. Australia's modern wildlife is extraordinary precisely because the continent's long isolation from the rest of the world's land masses allowed evolution to produce solutions to the problems of survival that don't exist anywhere else. Marsupials instead of placental mammals. Egg-laying monotremes. Animals that look from a distance like the mammals of other continents, but that diverged from them tens of millions of years ago and took entirely different evolutionary paths. In that context, it perhaps should not be surprising that Australia's version of a large apex predator was also unlike anything that evolved anywhere else. Thylacoleo carnifex, the marsupial lion, was not a lion. It was not closely related to any cat or dog or bear. It was a marsupial most closely related to the modern wombat and the koala, and it had, relative to its body size, the most powerful bite of any mammal ever confirmed by the fossil record. Thylacoleo reached approximately 100 to 130 kilograms, the size of a modern female lion, with retractile claws on its forelimbs that were unlike anything in the modern mammalian predator toolkit. Semi-opposable, capable of gripping and holding prey in a way that combined the function of a cat's retractile claws with something closer to a primate's grip. Its teeth were equally unusual. Enormous blade-like carnassial teeth derived from the premolars rather than the molars used for meat shearing in other carnivores, producing a cutting action that researchers have compared to a pair of industrial scissors. Its estimated bite force, relative to body mass, exceeded that of any other mammal ever studied. Not proportionally powerful, absolutely measurably the most powerful relative bite in mammalian history. Thylacoleo went extinct approximately 40,000 years ago, coinciding within the margin of dating error with the arrival of humans in Australia. Aboriginal rock art contains depictions of an animal that researchers have tentatively identified as Thylacoleo, a large, powerful predator with a distinctive body shape unlike any modern Australian animal. If those identifications are correct, the marsupial lion didn't just exist alongside the first Australians. It was observed by them, depicted by them, and possibly feared by them in a continent where the apex predator was a giant, wombat-related marsupial with scissors for teeth and a grip like a vice. The last animal on tonight's list didn't hunt on land at all. 6 more monsters, all of them real, all of them confirmed by the fossil record. And all of them proof that the Earth we live on is not the Earth that always existed, that the world was once larger, stranger, and more dangerous than anything alive today. The next video is already waiting. Don't go anywhere.